right, so one of my more common questions I get on my short videos is people asking for a van tour. I've done a couple of short videos on it, but it's kind of hard to, get all of this wrapped up into one 1 minute video. So, let's do a proper video. I got the day off. I got much to do today, so let's get into it. Start off, I drive a Ford Transit 2020. I've been in this for a couple of years now. Two actually, probably about a year and a half, but I do like this van. It's a lot better than the old E350s. I'll touch on some of that as I'm going through the deal, but it's just a standard van. I do have the extended ceiling on it. I think the outside is 9 foot. Inside, when you're standing in it, is a little over 6 foot, maybe 7 foot. I could stand up in it, which is awesome. So let's get into it. All right, let's start off at the side door here. This is where I'm normally coming in and out of. On the side of the toolbox right here, I keep this little Harbor Freight vise. It does what it needs to do. Not great, but I mean, it's good for basically a third hand when you need it. Some of my more common PM lubricants, chain lube, and then just some generic lube right here. Keep my gloves down there. Magnetic tray. I keep this right here. If I'm getting into something with a lot of nuts and bolts, this magnetic tray would sit like this, and you can just stick it to the side of the forklift and just load it up with bolts. There's my kid. More magnetic trays, same reason. This is my torch. I just keep it here. It seemed like it was the best place to put it. You do got to put a little pull noodle here, because if not, driving down the road, you'll hear this non-stop. So that just kind of silences that. Coming over to the other side, that's my compressor. This is one of those compromises you got to make, but I mean, it's there. It's handy to get to, I guess. I mean, I still have plenty of room to get in and out, which I like, but like I said, it's a compromise, just the shape of it. If it were up to me, it would have a vertical tank and it would just sit up there and kind of back in the corner more and not be blocking, but again, it's a compromise. Over here is my hose reel, 50 foot of hose. Swings it out. Like I said, this is normally where the side that I work out of, so everything here is coordinated for me to be able to easily get to from this side. I also keep my pry bars in the side of the toolbox here, and hood prop. I use that a lot during PMs for when the struts are broken and the customer doesn't want to fix it, and a knee pad. So, stepping into the van, we got my US General toolbox. Bought that. God, it's got to be going on 12 years now, and it's holding up pretty good for what it is. It's I think it was less than $400 for it. I wasn't expecting to get as much time out of it as I did, but I mean, bouncing around in the back of the van, it's doing pretty good. A couple of the latches are broken. As you can see, I got the replacement latches, ones for this heavy drawer up here, excuse me, here, and I got one for my hammer drawer down here. The top of the box is just kind of a catch-all for stuff that I didn't put away. That's my electronic diagnostic go bag, my meter, amp probe, jumper wires, back probe pins. I keep everything in this guy right here. Towels, again, next to the door for when I'm doing PMs out the side. This is just a general box. I got the absorbent pads down there in the bottom, extra gloves, extra shop towels. That is my jug I use for filling batteries, and I got my siphon back there for when I'm like doing gearboxes and whatnot, and I don't feel like getting a drain pan underneath 2 inches of clearance. You just suck it out of the top. Now, as far as actual working tools, I got this Bauer bag. We call these go bags. It's just a bag. It's right by the door. So when I pull up to a site, if I got to go in the building, I just grab that, pull it out, and wheel it into the building. Or if I'm just working next to my truck, I also just pull this up, open it up. It's kind of like a road mechanics version of a tool cart. You know what I mean? Actually, inside the box, I'm not going to go drawer by drawer because that'll be kind of boring. Basically, the top drawer, sockets of all kinds, some power tools, mostly pneumatic, aside from my old Bosch 4-inch grinder. Yeah, let me remove the lower lock there. Bottom drawer, small supplies, O-rings, butt connectors, fuses, things of that nature. Zip ties, you need zip ties. That's my hammer box when things get serious. Up here in the top drawer, it's just my socket wrenches, extensions, things of that nature. I keep this is a 15 millimeter. Pretty much every Toyota 4Y will have a 15 millimeter storage drain plug. Again, keeping with make the stuff I use a lot easy to access from outside. This is a wrench. I usually use this for my oil filter stuff right here. Again, 4Y engine. The claw one pulls them off and the cup one puts them on. Hand tight. This drawer right here, drills, taps, pretty much a catch-all, extractors, things of that nature. About 25 years worth of piecemealed, missing pieced screwdrivers and what have you. Files, seal pry bars, picks, and some more hydraulic tools I use on a somewhat regular basis. Cup seal installer, a pin spanner for pulling glands off of hydraulic cylinders. Let's get into parts. I really don't stock that much. I'm only 20 minutes from my shop, so if I do need to get something, I can get it on the way in the morning, if you know what I'm saying. So I kind of try to keep it as minimal as possible. Keep my filters right here by the door. These are just supplies, spray cans of brake clean, gum cutter, things of that nature. This is a road mechanic. Everyone has one of these boxes of leftover and extra parts and things that you replaced along with another job that you might not have necessarily needed to replace, but it's still good, so you throw it in here just in case of emergency. These are my actual parts down here, all random stuff. On this lower shelf down here is where I keep my parts that are got open tickets for, things that, you know, I'm waiting to get back to the place to actually finish a repair. Miscellaneous screws, nuts, bolts. In this case down here, this case is some more miscellaneous stuff, hose clamps, things of that nature. And this is just my cold weather gear up here. That's my jacket. This time of year you need it in the morning, you don't need it in the afternoon, so it just kind of hangs there. If I swing around to this side, it's just my fluids, engine oils, hydraulic oils, all the things of that nature. Down here we got 2 waste oil buckets, 10 gallons, which is usually enough. So coming in from the back here, got my hydraulic hose maker right here. This is the Parker model. I think this is kind of standard fare for road mechanics. Cones I could put up if I'm working in a high traffic area, so when somebody runs me over, they also have to hit a cone, so they even look stupider for doing it. Little hand truck, collapsible job. That's my ladder for when I need to do anything high up in the air, like the bigger forklifts with the mast, like doing anything on the mast or anything like that. Keep my safety chain back behind here. It's nice because it pegs it against it, so you don't have to hear it rattling constantly. And a little 500-pound hoist, which comes in handy when you need it. Now, actually stepping into the van, you might notice that there's nothing on my floor. And I got a rule that if I don't use it in a year and it's taking up space on my floor, I get the fuck rid of it. I don't need to be stepping over stuff. I need to be able to walk from the side all the way to the outside from the back without tripping. That's just the way I like to do things. So getting into tools, I generally, with my tools, anything that I use, it goes from what I use all the time, and I knock it down from there. So if I use it all the time, like say my go bag here, I keep that right by the door, obviously. Things that I use a little less frequently, but often, would be in the toolbox. And then I got tools that I rarely use, but I still need. And they go down underneath here. That's a transmission service. So down here, torque wrench, torque multiplier, big old fuck off combination wrenches, 3/4 inch drive, ratchet with an extendo handle. It's pretty sweet. I got my hydraulic hoses right here, and my jumper cables, windshield wiper fluid, that's just for my van. All the way on top here, my old Ryobi leaf blower. So if I'm doing a lot of PMs at a location, I get the concrete all dusty and everything, I'll just kind of spread the dirt out with this thing. Makes it look like I tried, you know. Battery, I usually keep 2 batteries, but I got one on the ticket right now, so I'm waiting for my parts department to return it. And my fuel can for the compressor, and then all my favorite bumblebee tools I just kind of jam underneath the compressor to keep them from flopping around. Grease gun, that usually is up front in the cab in the wintertime, but in the summertime I throw it back here. Wintertime, the grease gets kind of thick and makes it harder to pump, so I keep it up front where the heat is, and that way there kind of makes it life a little bit easier on it. Now coming over to the other side, I got a 5-gallon bucket for trash. Occasionally you can take a poop in there in an emergency. That's why I got that roll of toilet paper up there. Don't judge me unless you've been in that situation. And I got a second trash can right here. That's for bulkier items. It just kind of sits there until I empty it. That one I use for like rags and things like that, just so it doesn't get filled up too much. And I usually will take it out if I'm doing a real dirty job, just so I have a trash can next to me, so I don't have a pile of crap sitting on the floor. Tucked behind the trash can, I got another little cubby hole of infrequently used tools that I don't use all the time, but you know, I still need them. Actually, I forgot to point out over there, I put these 2x4s in here. They're just kind of loosely sitting in there, but it keeps the stuff from falling out when you're bouncing around. That's my cheapo Harbor Freight jack that continuously falls apart. This I only use for like steer axles, when I got to jack a steer axle back up into the frame, and I got like probably a half dozen or more golf carts that I work on down in the stadium, and this just makes it easier to get them up and down. A couple bottle jacks come along, another bigger bottle jack, bolt cutters, you know, things of that nature. This is my actual forklift jack. It's a 15,000 pound capacity jack. It pretty much will lift any forklift I work on. So yeah, it comes in handy. These are decent enough jacks. They always leak right outside there, and once a year you end up having to fill them up. But like I said, I mean, it is what it is, and that's fastened to the shelf with a bungee so it doesn't bounce around. I hate rattles in the back of my van, so I always have everything secured so I don't have rattles. I still get them, but just not as bad. And my fire extinguisher. Moving back closer to the front of the van, driver's side, I got my little shelf here. This is all my blow mold case stuff, snap-on gauge kits, and little handy tools and what have you. It's an extra socket set I just haven't figured out what to do with. I keep my blocks here and here. They're like the 6x6 blocks, and these are my 4x4 blocks down here for when I'm up underneath a forklift and I don't want to get killed. Up here is my case. I keep all my handsets, cables, computer stuff that I don't want to get destroyed bouncing around the inside of my van. Back here's here's my toolbox. That's the little hole back there. I got gauges and other miscellaneous stuff that I really don't ever use, so I just keep them stuffed back here. Some miscellaneous small hardware I keep in here. And these are my straps that I use. Battery strap, I was looking for that. Let's put that back when we when we get there. Yeah, these are my lifting straps, and these are all my hydraulic plugs and caps. There's a fun story behind that fucking big ass freaking cap and plug. That was when I was doing construction equipment. But yeah, and then I got my big old wheel hub sockets here, and down here I keep my drain pans. This one's nice and easy to get to for when I'm doing oil changes, and then this is my bigger one for bigger machines, and I keep my siphon pump in there again for when I'm doing like big hydraulic oil changes. You just stuff that in there, hook it up to the battery, and it drains it, and then you don't have to keep replacing your pan because you're doing it from the drain plug in the bottom. My old Ryobi fan comes in handy when you need it. And that's pretty much it for the actual working space of the van. For anybody who doesn't know, this is kind of like my shop. You know what I mean? If you had like an auto mechanic and he didn't have a shop to work in, he'd have to have something like this set up for him. And I work on cars, but I work on forklifts. So yeah, let's go up to the front. There's a couple things up there I want to show you, and yeah, that should be it. On the you'll see this with most service techs. The passenger side, no one ever rides in it, so it just becomes another place to store random shit. I got my my duct tape I use for when I cover my company's name tag. Some hand cleaner for the end of the day, so I clean my hands on my drive home. And paperwork. Normally, if this was a work day, I'd have my cooler here with my water bottles, and down here I keep my my laptop case and all that jazz. And back here, oh, you know, let me show you this. All right, so hopefully I got a good angle here because I can't really see from that side, but check this out. This was like a game changer for me as far as lunchtime goes. So you take your steering wheel, push it down, lock it up, and then you take this thing right here and you stick it around the steering wheel, and you got a friggin' lunch tray. How awesome is that? I bought this like 3 years ago, and you know, usually when you're sitting here eating in your van, you either got your clipboard with your baconator sitting on it and you're trying to stuff it into your face, or you got you know, your fries, and you're dropping your fucking lunch on the floor. And this thing, you just kind of stick your food right here and you could eat. I usually stick my cell phone up on the dash so I could watch a little bit of YouTube or some type of videos while I'm eating lunch. But yeah, this thing was a game changer. If I think about it, or I'll think about it, but if I could find a link for it, I'll put it in the description. This thing's awesome for anybody who's got to eat lunch out of their vehicle on a regular basis like I do. All right, that's about it for that video. I got that question a lot, and it's a lot of younger guys that are just getting into the field, and they're trying to figure out how to set their vans up. When you first do it, if you don't know where shit's supposed to go or where the best place is to put things, it's a little overwhelming. It's like a blank canvas, you know what I mean? And you gotta start painting at some point in time. And the stuff I do is just stuff I've done over years, you know. I switch stuff around as I go. I do have one rule that if I haven't used it in a year and it's taken up room on my floor, I get rid of it. Same thing goes with parts. I don't want stuff sitting around in my van that I'm never going to use. So it's a good rule to keep too, if you want to keep your van to the point where it's somewhat organized like mine. And my thing isn't really so much about being clean. It's more about being organized where it needs to be organized. I'm not generally a clean freak, but yeah. So yeah, but I mean, going from the Econoline vans to these transit vans is, I mean, it's a game changer. just the fact with the old Econolines with the little, I don't know, they were like 5-foot ceilings, you know what I mean? So you were 4.5 foot, whatever the hell they were, you know what I mean? If you are walking around in it, you're hunched over, or you just end up crawling around on the floor, which, you know, hurts your knees, and you accidentally kneel on a bolt. And this thing, you could just open it up and walk in. So yeah, I definitely like these a lot better than the old Econolines. And yeah, highly recommend if you're in Econoline and they bring up a Transit, or even the other style ones like the Mercedes. They have one, and a couple other companies make this style van. And yeah, definitely highly recommend it. So yeah, that's it. It's a good day off video, and hope you learned something. You got any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll try my best to get back to you. So yeah, thanks for watching.